Welcome to a special The Have Not Room episode, little snippet thing here. Brian and I are going to talk about the first 24 hours or so of feeds. It hasn't even been 24 hours of feeds. It's been,
with everything that's happened, it feels like 24 days.
Yeah, I think 19 hours of feeds so far at the time of recording. But yeah, we have some stuff to talk about. I got like maybe 2 hours of sleep last night, so we're running on that. And but I did it for the wonderful viewers of the Have Not Room, and also because I'm a lunatic who loves Big Brother.
Yeah, if anything, the Have Not Room was an excuse for us to be lunatics about Big Brother. It was like, I have to do it for the podcast. I would obviously not be doing this otherwise.
Yeah. I have
to watch. How you doing?
Yeah, I have to watch people go around in circles with the same fucking arguments for 3.5 hours.
Yeah, no, of course. So how are you doing? Where are we at right now in the house? What's going on?
I am I'm feeling good with my winner pick, at least compared to you guys' first right off the bat. I think I think one of the Have Not Room headlines is Ashley and Keanu, both really, really not as good players as we thought they were going to be.
Oh man, we
overrated week one.
Yeah. We came in being like, these two are the clear front runners of everybody, and then just it all fell apart so quickly, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, obviously on the episode we saw on the second episode, we saw that Ashley had Showergate, which may or may not have been like the real beef of the reason why she was nominated and targeted. But she was put on the block alongside Zay and Amy, and then also had a lot of social faux pas, you could say. But we come back, we get the feeds come on, last night, and Ashley has won the power of veto. And earlier today, she did, or actually, like 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago, she did use it obviously on herself. So great news for you, Brian. You dodged the bullet because it looks like if she had not won the veto, she would have. Obviously, she had the BB blockbuster as well, but if she had not won the veto or the BB blockbuster, it's looking like she would have been the first boot of the season. So dodged that, and I think that she has a decent shot here, potentially rebounding and coming out from underneath the kind of situation she buried herself in, or was maybe I would say half her fault, half Vince's fault. Coming out of week one. So
yeah, I think it was a little bit of like, there's really no reason to get rid of anybody, and people just kind of jumped on that and dogpiled on it, and it just like 100% got out of control. And was it a faux pas? Sure. Yes, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do anything in Big Brother to make yourself stand out in any way, especially week one. But you know what? I'm really hopeful that now that she's past this, she can move on and have a successful run at things.
Yep. And I mean, look, I mean, Vince himself, like early this morning at like 4:30 in the morning or something crazy, was himself still awake, taking a shower. So, maybe she's really a trendsetter,
Yeah. And like, I literally was laying in bed last night after the episode before the feeds came on and was like, yeah, maybe my winner pick's going to be first out because she took too long of a shower. It sucks.
Yeah. Dodge a bullet. And I think we had to talk about Vince, because I think Vince, obviously first HOH here. We see on the episode, he, importantly, we'll talk about Kelly, who comes up to him and is like, I trust you. We're going to make this final 2 agreement. She immediately offers to go on the block as a pawn. He doesn't like end up doing that as an initial nominee. A little bit of a spoiler there, maybe in the way I worded that. Yeah, I think Vince. It became very clear from the from like an hour into feeds that he just doesn't really have much of a backbone. At least like the amount of backbone you need to have a successful week one HOH. Like we talk a lot about, especially in modern Big Brother, we've had like a pretty crazy run of really bad week one HOHs ever since like Cody and All Stars, where he kind of put on a clinic not only just as a week one HOH but for the whole season. He kind of like almost like Lord Voldemort with the Defense Against the Dark Arts spot. Like he cursed the first HOHs in the rest of BB history to have horrible reigns. Because I feel like it's not that hard, Brian, to like have a successful first HOH. Like all you have to do is just like play aggressively. Like you kind of have to swing your dick around a little bit. Use the power to form a social structure or an alliance around you as the core. Like you have all of the power. You should have all of the advantage.
I feel like too, he's so worried about people being mad at him, but he's not like thinking like all these people are going to be so happy with me for not nominating them that they'll want to work with me. He's only concerned about the people he's going to upset.
Yeah, it's a very like pessimistic, like glass half empty way of like looking at a first HOH, which is like I don't know, like nothing about what he's done so far as first HOH, other than we'll talk about the alliance that he's in, but like that's like the bare minimum of what you should be getting out of a first HOH is an alliance. And like even his own position within that alliance is very very reminiscent, I would say, of like McRae and the Moving Company, where it's like a very unstable alliance that he's only in because he's the first HOH, and there's not really like a ton of long-term loyalty there, and it could implode as soon as next week, a la the Moving Company.
Yeah, who's the Nick Uas of this alliance?
I mean,
another former Brian Winter pick, by the
way. I've seen people comparing Jimmy to Nick Uas, both preseason and post. Yeah, post the show starting. I think that we'll talk about Jimmy. I mean, Jimmy's like I would say probably the star of the season at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jimmy's probably a better player than Nick. I say that he still could be Nick Uhast next week. He could have the same arc. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I think that like he's shot out of a cannon, and he did not take all the Big Brother's a marathon, not a sprint advice that endless people have coming off of the show / commentating on the show. He's just like, I'm sprinting, baby. I'm ready.
Yeah, I do think that it's a marathon and a sprint is like a little bit kind of overblown and kitschy. I think that like you can play Big Brother as a sprint if you are the type of personality and the type of player that can sprint for this season 83 days straight. And I think like Jimmy does actually kind of fit the vibes of somebody who can just like sprint nonstop for 83 days and never slow down. Yeah.
I mean, Tony from Survivor, he sprinted all the 39 days that, both times he won. Like, I guess it is possible. Suri, though, was not able to keep the pace after the first month. So we'll see if he's still here in a month. How he's
I think Suri obviously loses Izzy, loses Jared, and I think after losing both Izzy and Jared, and also like not being able to win a comp, kind of like took a lot of the wind out of her sails. Whereas I really don't think that Jimmy would have that kind of an issue. I don't really think he legitimately cares about any of the people in this house to that degree, and I also think that he is like a young like fit dude. Like he's probably one of the people who's the more likely to win an average comp. So I don't know if he would have the same kind of issues that Suri ran into, where she did run out of steam.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. But I do like what I'm seeing from Jimmy so far, just from the sense of like he's going to be very entertaining this season.
Oh, for sure. He's great. Amazing feeds. He's going to be great TV. Like he's, we'll talk about this veto ceremony that just happened. He planned, like, we didn't get to see it because the way they structure the veto comp on the feeds, they cut the feeds and then they don't really bring it back, especially on the first week until like a little bit after. But from what we can gather and from what he was planning going in, he confronted both Keanu and Amy after the veto ceremony directly and called them out. And Keanu seems to have like seen that as him like squashing their beef, but I don't know. I don't know if that's like real. But yeah, I mean, we have this beef that had happened between Jimmy and Keanu that happened off feeds, and we kind of only heard bits and pieces of it, where Keanu was like, I don't want to, I'm not down to talk game with you. I'm kind of like just playing it slow. Jimmy later in a conversation with Morgan and Zach compares this to somebody who's like playing Monopoly and doesn't want to move their piece off of Go until they see which properties everyone else is buying. Which is like, good Jimmy. Like Jimmy has a lot of like these kind of analogies and like metaphors and stuff that he throws out. And then he later finds out that Keanu is actually playing the game. It's just that he's, talking to everybody else about targeting Jimmy. And so that creates a fight. They fight. They like kind of loosely make up. Then they have a fight again, but then they make up again. I think. I don't know. It's very hard to kind of track their relationship. I think they are still probably both like loosely going to target each other if it comes down to it. But yeah, that's where Jimmy's at. And Jimmy also is, the architect, presumably, of this six-person alliance built around Vince's HOH, called the Heavy Hitters, which comprises Jimmy, Vince, Morgan, Zach, Rachel, and Riley, which is a very strange hodgepodge of people. And like I said, feels very tenuous as to how long it's going to last.
It's also like so frustrating that we didn't have the feeds, because it's like, how are Jimmy and Rachel in the same alliance after what we've seen on TV?
Yeah,
what is happening?
Get into this, like, because it seems like nobody in the alliance talks to him. I guess like Rachel and him are having a heart to heart right now, and they have been for about like 45 minutes. But up until like that, like the first 8 hours of feeds, like Riley seemed very, separate from the rest of the alliance.
Yeah,
and it definitely felt like the core was like Morgan, Jimmy, Zach as a three.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that Rachel's in an alliance and seemingly has some footing. I don't love that Amy potentially might be going home this week, as we'll see. Like, that's not good for her, but maybe it'll light a fire under her. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about, I guess, what happens with the renom. But yeah, I would say like at this point, like Amy probably has like a 40 to 50% chance of going home. Not great for Rachel. Rachel,
is that on Rachel's radar at all? Like, does she know that it's coming?
I mean, I don't think she doesn't know. I do think that she probably at this point, so we'll get to it, but Kelly is the renom. We'll go through the whole drama of that happens.
Yeah.
But I think Rachel at this point thinks that Kelly is going to go home. Mm-hmm. But I doubt that she's like going to play passively if it means like that Amy's in danger. She'll probably push within her alliance, because I do know that like Jimmy and to a lesser degree Zach are probably wanting Amy out of the three people on the block right now, because Amy did openly also target Jimmy to multiple people, and that got back to Jimmy, and that's why Jimmy confronted Amy and Keanu during the end of the veto ceremony a few hours ago. So bad on Amy for doing that. Really messy gameplay there. So I think that Rachel will probably kind of play it by ear, and like if she can guarantee votes for Amy, then she will. Because I think the votes are pretty close. Like if Zay wins the blockbuster, which I think a lot of people both in and out of the house are kind of like assuming is the more likely option of the three, the vote between Kelly and Amy is pretty close, which is why I said like 40 to 50%. I think like it's like somewhere in the 50-50, 60-40 range.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. I one part of me wants to see what Rachel would do, you know? But we'll see what happens. I'm trying to add some graphic for who the players are in case people are like, wait, who is this again?
Yeah, who is that's fair. Yeah. Let's talk about Kelly. I think this is like I think that like this Vince and Kelly stuff that happens last night into today is Rachel's not on here because we made this graph.
You know who Rachel is. Yeah.
So, we know who Rachel is. But yeah, so Vince pretty quickly last night in conversations with a bunch of other people is like, yeah, I'm going to have to do Kelly. I think Kelly's the only option for me for a renom. And then he goes to Kelly and he's like, who do you think I should renom? And she's like, I don't know, maybe like Adrian, if you want to play it safe, or like if you want to take a shot, you should put up Jimmy. Obviously, like Vince is not going to do that. And then Vince eventually tells her like, hey, I'm going to put you up. And she's like, I would prefer no. But let's keep in mind, though, that she already like planted these seeds in the earlier conversations that we saw in the episode, which is why you should never volunteer for the block, because like once you like crack that door open, even like a smidge, you're leaving a possibility for it to get like slammed all the way open. But like Kelly just doesn't get the game. I think fundamentally she very clearly has like barely seen the show, if at all. She did not do her research. I think deliberately. She's one of those people who like deliberately didn't do her research because she thought that it would be better to go in with an open mind or whatever.
Literally the most insane approach you can take to any reality show.
Yeah, no, it's like, I mean, Brian and I and like Chadi as well, like on top of like pretty much every time we talk about Big Brother in particular, but like also Survivor, any of these shows, like especially Big Brother, the last 15 years, almost every single winner has been somebody who has been a pretty decently sized fan of the show, like one of the bigger fans on the cast, like pretty well acquainted with the show, watched many seasons for many years. So like this idea that not being acquainted with the show could somehow be an advantage is just ludicrous. It's silly. It's plainly stupid, really. It's like, I want to play chess off of vibes, right? That's kind of like what you're. That's kind of like the equivalent thing that you're saying. It's like, I think I could be, Magnus Carlsen just based off of like, the feel of the board. I'll kind of figure it out as I go.
Yeah. You don't even know what the pieces do.
Yeah, you figure it out as you go. Like you try out a couple of moves of like, no, you can't do that. You're like, oh, I figured it out. Now I can move this one here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's like, and she said her name was Julie, the host. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's good. Yeah, crazy to come onto a show and be like this, but it is very funny that Kelly is in this position that she did to herself. But it's even funnier how like Vince has like twisted himself into her going on the block like it's the only option when it's so clearly not his only option. And he's like, I just wish there's something I could do. Yeah. It's like, Vince, you're doing this. You're the one doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know who is less self-aware between Kelly and Vince. They honestly, after the feud just came back on like about 30 to 45 minutes ago, they were having a conversation and Adrian was there. And honestly, like, it made me less happy about Adrian as a player just for simply being in their presence. Like during that conversation, like I personally felt stupider having watched it. So I can't imagine, like, I think Adrian probably like just from osmosis lost at least 10 IQ points just simply being in the room with them. But like they just have like a competition as to like who can say the stupidest and most inane shit while being the most self-unaware of their like game and like how to play Big Brother. They're like, which is surprising for Vince because Vince actually is a fan. Like Vince has said he has watched the show since BB16 and he's watched feeds since 18. Right? Like he's been a fan of the show for a decade. Like that's the kind of person you would expect to play at least semi-competently, but he's not. And I think a lot of it just comes down to his personality. Like he's just kind of a pushover. He doesn't really have the ganache to really like play an aggressive game, to like really advocate for his own self-interest. And we see that in how he plays this entire sequence where he could have easily put up, like even putting up Keanu, I think would have made a lot more sense for him. Because Keanu, I think, is a much more single-minded player who like may or may not have wanted to work long-term with Vince and would be a lot less easy to control. Whereas Kelly is like the perfect puppet because she has no clue what the fuck she's doing. And she's like blindly loyal to somebody who's like is giving her zero loyalty back. Like she's the perfect person to take forward in the game, which I think makes it even more impressive that she's likely going to get evicted first. Because even just like doing nothing and shutting up and like just sitting in the corner and talking to nobody probably would have served her better than anything she's done throughout this entire season so far.
Right. Yeah. It's so crazy, dude. It's so, I don't know. Like we were texting last night during the episode, and when she said that she wanted to be nominated, I was like, I hope she goes home. Like,
yeah. Oh, 100%. I 1000% want her to go home. Like, I don't even like Amy. Like, I love Rachel. Obviously, Rachel's my winner pick. I want Amy to stay in the game simply because she's Rachel's ally. I don't even like Zay. Like, I think Zay's kind of boring, but like, I need Kelly to leave just to like, as I said last night, to have more blood on the floor of like stupid recruits who don't know what the fuck they're doing, thinking that they could come in and outsmart Big Brother by not doing any work, like to like research how the show works. Is like it's like the same idea as MJ needs to lose to Chelsea last season, right? Like there needs to be a consequence for like the level of delusionally bad gameplay in order to set a precedent for future seasons and future players. And on top of that, I just personally cannot stand Kelly. I understand why she's a house pariah. I understand why she's like been completely socially outcast by almost everyone in the house. She's like really, really insufferable to me. I don't like her. I really just want her to leave.
I think that's fair. I mean, and it does shed light on why everyone's so like anti her, right?
I get it. I mean, I get it. Like, are they being like somewhat like rude? Like, I think I could say more rude things about Kelly just by simply watching her than I think most of these people have said about her just by living with her. Like, I like she's like every time I hear her on the feeds, like I could just feel myself getting stupider, and like I just don't like nothing she says like is compelling. It's like the most inane drivel ever. Like she's I just don't like her. Like I just like she's like the peak of a person that like gets on my nerves.
I mean, there's just no. I mean, I don't know. What do you think's gonna transpire for the rest of this week? Do you think she's done, or do you think that she'll be able to claw her way back here at all?
Well, I mean, after the veto ceremony, one of the things she's now pitched in that conversation with Vince and Adrian was, "What if I throw the BB blockbuster?"
What if, Kelly?
Wouldn't that be fun, Brian?
I mean, if she wants to go back to flying her plane, I guess.
Yeah. Well, she talked about both throwing the BB blockbuster and then also pretending to throw it, where like she tries to win it, and then if she loses, comes out in her eviction speech and is like, "Hey, I threw it. You know, it was a strategy." I don't know what the strategy is. I don't know what there wasn't really like a second step to that logical conclusion. I don't really think she thought much beyond like that kind of initial premise. Yeah, I don't know. Her other thing that she was talking about doing was saying that Jimmy calling out Amy and making her cry was an entire like fabricated setup because Jimmy and Rachel are working together and Jimmy doesn't actually want Amy to go. And so because Jimmy doesn't want Amy to go, they should vote out Amy to weaken both Jimmy and Rachel. Okay. Which is like, you don't need to like fabricate reasons to vote out Amy. Like there's legitimate reasons that they should vote out Amy over her. She could just like use the truth instead of making up this elaborate like ruse fabrication nonsense that no one's going to believe because it's so ludicrous.
Right. Yeah, man, I don't even know. I don't even know anymore. Like
that, she's just legitimately like 1 out of 10 social player, 1 out of 10 strategic player. We haven't really seen her compete, so I don't know how she is like physical. Like she didn't compete in the HOH, she didn't compete in the veto. Like she competed in the like power comp, but like it seemed like most of the people were throwing that because they didn't want the powers for some reason. So we'll see, I guess, on Thursday when she competes in the BB Blockbuster if she's a 1 out of 10 physical player too for the trifecta, worst player of all time. But like she's fucking really, really horrible at Big Brother. She does not understand anything about the game, and she's like a socially, horrible as well. So I don't know. There's no like upside to her as a player.
Yeah, I do think it is very funny that Vince like is going to be so horrible that like someone who's like outwardly like I have your back, I'm your number one, is going to get evicted.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. There's a big gulf on this season so far between the really good players and the really bad players because you have like obviously Vincent Kelly, Keanu as well, like all pretty bad players. And then you have, I would say, like Morgan, Zach, Rachel, obviously, all like pretty good players. Jimmy as well. I think Jimmy obviously is playing like a really high risk, high reward game, but it's working out so far.
Right.
And then there is kind of like this blob of people in the middle, like your Avas, your Catherines, your Laurens, your Wills, who all I think have Mickey as well, who have like a lot of competent like instincts and like have been doing well socially, but haven't really like solidified anything strong strategically. I guess with the exception of Mickey, who does have the threesome, the triple threat alliance with Jimmy and Morgan, though that really hasn't come up too much so far in the feeds, other than last night, Jimmy instructed Mickey, who knows about the Heavy Hitters Alliance, at least loosely, to form a kind of controlled opposition alliance against them.
He really is just gaming so hard.
Yeah. This is like, I love this. This is like, obviously Jimmy's playing really, really hard, really fast, like just nonstop, and just like throwing all kinds of shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. But I love this idea because like, the only way you can really lose as the like majority alliance controlling the house is if a larger, stronger counter alliance forms and they win power and they dismantle your alliance, right? But if you orchestrate the formation of that alliance and then preemptively sabotage it, like you're just home free, right? Like I think it's kind of a cool idea.
If you can pull this off, I love it. Like this will be incredible.
Yeah. So Mickey already approached Will about that. It seems like she wants to legitimately work with Will. I think the plan is that both the Heavy Hitters Alliance and this Controlled Opposition Alliance that may or may not end up forming will both eventually kind of crumble, but then like the pieces in the middle will like reform the new structure after both of them eventually crumble.
Yeah, I just love the idea of Jimmy being like Emperor Palpatine, playing both sides against himself.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, like, it makes sense too from Jimmy's perspective to want something like that, especially because he is seen so strongly right now as a figurehead, both for the like power structure and then the house as a whole. So like any real counterinsurgency that does form would likely be targeting him, right? You already have Keanu talking about targeting Jimmy. You already have Ashley talking about targeting Jimmy. You have Amy talking about targeting Jimmy, right? There is this vibe in the ether that like if somebody from the outer group does win power, Jimmy would be the most likely target. And so if he can have Mickey preemptively squash that or maybe like misdirect the target towards Zach or somebody like that, then perfect. Or even Rachel. I think Rachel would also be somebody else that Jimmy would be fine to redirect the target towards.
Right. Now it's going to be interesting. We can thread this needle.
Yeah.
Or it might blow up in his face, which will also be fun.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. He's playing kind of game that like legitimately could go anyway. It could be his game could blow up next week and he could get evicted, or he could just run this game front to back and win. Like legitimately,
like one of the best winners ever.
Yeah, legitimately, like he has the entire spectrum of possibilities with the way that he's playing, and so far he's leaning towards being successful and like taking a deep run at this game so far. Obviously, like bad comp outcomes could change that, or like something could blow up. But like right now, he's in a very very strong spot.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see. If you had to guess at this point, who do you think is going to go home?
Who I think is going to go home? Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 60-40 though. Like I said, I think it's like 60 Kelly, 40 Amy.
Yeah, so we'll see. Anything else from the live feeds that you wanted to talk about?
No, I think Ava, we didn't really mention. Ava is doing pretty good. The core alliance have all talked about really liking Ava. I think if they do kind of implode, but then reform as like a separate structure, similar to how like the Pentagon imploded, but then like pieces of them reformed into a new structure, I think Ava could kind of fall into that new structure. I think that Lauren also could fall into that new structure. Lauren and Zach are kind of doing a flirtmance thing to the point where Morgan has been flirting now with Zach to try to make sure that he doesn't have a thing with Lauren on the side, so that he doesn't have like split loyalties against the alliance, which I think is fun. I think Morgan has been very good. I think Morgan is like probably a top 2 or 3 player in the house for me right now as well.
Nice. Love that.
So really good, really solid all around. Like I would say, assuming Kelly does go, we're probably left with 16 people who are at the very least playing aggressive and bad. Whereas like I think Kelly is playing passively and bad, which is like the most frustrating to watch for me at least. Whereas like somebody like Keanu is playing aggressively and bad, which I think is more entertaining.
Yeah.
So we're left with good players, players with potential, or players that are bad but playing aggressively. So,
what more can you ask for this early in a season?
Yep. And Rachel's doing great. Really happy with that winner pick. Obviously, she's gonna go 2 for 2.
Yep.
No, not 2 for 2, but 2. Obviously, 2 for 3.
But yeah.
she's gonna get her second win. She's gonna make Big Brother history. I'm in.
Love it. All right. Well, we will be back Thursday night. We will be recording after the eviction and just recapping it all. And then the Have Not Room YouTube channel, I've been putting out videos. I put out 3 videos today talking about different aspects of stuff that's happening there. So check those out if you're still in need of more Big Brother content somehow. Ben, anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
No, this has been fun so far. As obviously annoyed that the feed started late, but they came on. They came on hard, hard and fast, and they haven't stopped really since they came on. They've been kind of quiet right now after like the blow up stuff from the veto meeting has calmed. But there has been like almost nonstop game talk on the feeds since they've come back on. So
yeah, I'm sure they'll heat up again.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So it should be fun. All right. Anywhere you want people to follow you, anything like that?
You can follow me on Blue Sky. I have not. I tweeted out. I think I think I tweeted an anti-Kelly tweet, or not a tweet, but like a
Sky?
a bleat or whatever. A skeet.
Bleep. Oh man, yeah. Go follow Ben on Blue Sky. You follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky, and then all of our various channels. We get everything. The Have Not Room channel and Better Radio, which is our podcasting channel. So, Ben, thanks so much for taking the time, and can't wait to talk more Big Brother with you later on in the week.
Oh yeah.
All right. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.